for listening to this bonus episode of the Hustleburg podcast. I truly enjoyed chatting with these local business people about how they're adapting so creatively to the ever-changing rules to stay open to serve our community. If you're local to St. Pete or anywhere in Pinellas County and you're open for business, visit stpeteopenforbusiness.com/open to be added to the listing. And if you've done something creative or made a special offer that you'd like to share with our community, let me know by email at brett@stpeteopenforbusiness.com. Don't worry if you won't remember that. It will be in the show notes. If this is your first episode of Hustleburg, I'd really appreciate it if you'd stick around and listen to another episode or two and possibly subscribe. If we add something of value, let us know by rating and reviewing this episode on your favorite podcast player. Regular episodes come out to arrive in your feed on Thursday mornings, and this week you'll hear a Q&A episode centered around marketing your business on LinkedIn. Amanda Grosenich from F.U.S.E Therapy shares her experience bringing teletherapy and other virtual methods to occupational therapy for her patients. So I'm joined today by Amanda Grosenich from F.U.S.E Therapy, an occupational therapy group here in St. Pete. Listeners to the Hustleburg podcast may remember her from episode number 9 there. Amanda, thank you for joining me today.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
So it looks like you have one of the unique situations like Bayboro Brewing did, where you started things for your business right as we experienced the pandemic. So ideally, pre-pandemic, what's business like for you? What is it that you do?
So we, right before everything shut down, we did our launch day, which was a hike day in the park in Tampa. And we got through the hike and everybody had a great time, and then they shut us down.
Right.
And then we ended up with the social distancing, safer at home orders, and everybody kind of got reclused into their house. So
Right.
As a community-based business, is a little bit challenging. And before that, though, we were connecting outside face-to-face, talking with families that seeing what people needed, and just trying to, start out. So I can't really say we got very far.
Right. So you provide occupational therapy services mainly to juveniles, right? Younger.
Yes, we do. I focus on children with special needs. And the idea is that we are going to bridge the gap between therapy and clinical settings and the community. As you can see, I'm sitting outside because
Yes.
A lot of the things that we will do are in the outside world and in nature, the beach, and other community environments. So I just thought this would be a perfect little setting here to
Fantastic.
show that's what we do. So it's a little challenging when you have to be social distance, or the places that we could meet to do social distancing are closed or limited.
Now, what are some of the things that you've been able to do to adapt creatively during the Safer at Home, which looks like it'll be ending right as this comes out? Well, we'll be phasing back in a reopening, but.
So honestly, we just kind of took a step back and reevaluated where we were and what needed to be done with the new things that were being put in place. Because everything was so new and unexpected, we didn't really have anything ready for this. So it was kind of like, take a step back, reevaluate, and then let's see what we can offer once things kind of settle down. So where we're at right now is, and we've been open this whole time, so the options were for people to do more teletherapy or consultation over the phone. But as far as the social piece of it, I can still do individual treatments within the restrictions that are put in place. So right now, kind of what is potentially in the works, depending on how the reopening process happens, is that if we decide to do groups or multiple people, we'll have very limited. We'll have it will be activities that create a very separated environment. So if we do, say, a hike, then each family will kind of have their own space to hike through the paved areas that are open. I've considered doing some Zoom meetings to pull in different families so that the kids can socialize a little bit that way. And as far as protective equipment or things that need to be put in place, I mean, we wouldn't change anything that we would already do, which is wash hands, sanitizer, keep if keep those things that we already use as healthcare providers in place
Right.
for the safety of others. Now, something we may have to add would be wearing masks. So if we are too close to each other, at least we have that protection. Unfortunately, it's a little challenging with kids with special needs because a lot of them can't handle having their face covered, and nor do they handle having other people's face covered because they rely on those social cues that they get from people. And even sometimes just wearing glasses or parents pulling their hair back can be really hard for kids to process. So there's those challenges to work with, but I think just talking with the families and seeing what the needs are for each individual kid and each individual family, I'd be able to kind of adapt and adjust to those needs. So that's kind of where we're at the moment.
Awesome, Amanda. Where can people find out more about F.U.S.E therapy and what you do for the community?
So we are on Facebook, Instagram, and I have a website, www.fusetherapy.org. And my direct contact is 918-810-3109. And like I said, we're open and we can do a variety of things based on what your needs are and how where everybody's kind of at this moment, because we're all kind of in different situations. So that's kind of where you can find us.
Awesome. Thanks, Amanda, for sharing, and look forward to having this up on St. Pete Open for Business.
Sounds good. Thanks, everybody, and hope that we can actually do real face-to-face soon.
Red Hot Tiki's Robin Swanson tells us about briefly closing the shop to grow her business with online ordering, curbside delivery, and shipping soon to be available for you. I'm joined today by Robin Swanson of Red Hot Tiki. Listeners of the Hustleburg podcast will probably remember Robin from episode number 5. She was actually the very first episode of Hustleburg that was recorded, but she is episode number 5. Robin, thanks for joining me today.
Hi, good morning.
So it looks like the last couple of weeks you have swayed from your normal operations. What are your normal operations there at Red Hot Tiki pre-pandemic?
Well, we used to be just a storefront. We had started out with a website and a storefront right at the very beginning of the business, and then decided to concentrate solely on the business because I'm the only employee and the only person that's doing anything here. So it's like I had to figure out what was best with my time. And there was so much going online, we thought we'd be different and we'd be a storefront. And so all of our customers came to Gulfport and came in, and we have well over 1,000 products, over 400 samples. Things were going great. This was our best year, our best quarter. Things were fabulous. We thought, this is great. And then, of course, the pandemic. So we had to take a deep breath. And I say we, it's me and my boyfriend. I was like, which I sound everything off of him. And I said, I'm going to have to bite the bullet and redo a new e-commerce store and figure out how to make it work for us. And so I did a website. I put over almost 1,000 products on there, which is no easy thing to do. And there's still some glitches, but it's not perfect, but it works. And we're not ready to ship yet, but we did open it up to touchless service, no contact. We have curbside delivery, so you can order online and we'll take it out to your car for you, set it in the back seat, wherever you want it. Or we will Also, you can order it online and just walk up to the door and go, hey, I'm here, and I'll just hand you the bag and you can leave. But as of tomorrow, because we're closed on Mondays, as of tomorrow, we will start letting 1 or 2 people in, as long as they're the same family group, because one of the reasons we closed down for 4 weeks wasn't just because of the website. It was because we wanted to make sure we were doing the right thing, and didn't want to jump the gun and do something that was going to cause more harm. And I just couldn't be responsible for anything like that. And so the 4 weeks actually gave us a chance to look at the store. I'm 300 square feet. You've been in here. You know how small it is.
Very small store, and I don't know how you would even practice social distancing in as small of a storefront as you have.
Exactly. So we decided, without really being able to figure out how to do that, it was best to close. And like I said before, the 4 weeks flew by.
Right.
I was on the computer night and day. This last week was the first week we did it. And actually it's worked out. And I think we're going to keep it afterwards, after all this is going. We might get rid of the curbside delivery because we've actually only had like 1 or 2 people use it. But I think watching the people and talking to some of the people, it was great because the people that work, and we still have people that are working, it was great for them because they could order online and just swing by at lunchtime, run in, grab it, and leave. And so that was an added benefit that we weren't expecting. So I'm kind of excited moving forward and kind of getting the shipping stuff done and kind of expanding the business and hoping that I can handle it.
Oh, I have no doubt that you're going to be able to handle it. So you spent 3.5-ish, 4 weeks completely closed with the storefront before the website was launched, and you moved to pickup only. What were some of the biggest challenges you found with people wanting to be able to come to the store and browse during that time? Or what did everybody kind of understand what was going on?
Well, we put a note on the door that said, we're closed because we can't comply with the 6-foot social distancing. Just like, honestly, we just can't comply. And if you've been in the store before, you understand. And anybody that knows me knows that it would break my heart if I thought I got anybody sick because of something of my failing. So I'm doing the best I can, like everybody else. It's weird because the browsing and the sampling, especially the sampling, I've had people that are like, oh, I don't care. And I'm like, but I do. And and I hope that I don't lose customers over the fact that I do care. Because, we all have different levels of concerns about this. And I'm understanding of that, and I hope they're understanding of me. I'm almost 60. So I'm not necessarily in one of the risk groups, but still, I could come in contact with some of my customers are. So it's like, I just want to do the right thing. And there are obstacles because, you have people that are insistent.
Absolutely.
And, I have people that don't want to wear masks, and I do the best I can. And I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I forget to pull the mask up sometimes. And I hope that they tell me. I've had customers say, hey, can you? We all do. Like, oh, thank you.
So I'm looking very much forward to trying out the website. My favorite is the tropical blend coffee that I get from you. I'm going to have to try out the website for the contactless. Well, not contactless because I'll at least have to say hello, but very much looking forward to trying out the new website. Where can people do that, and where can they find you online, Robin?
You can find us at 2904 Beach Boulevard South in Gulfport, which is kind of South St. Pete. We're between St. Pete Beach and St. Pete. And at www.redhottiki.com.
Awesome. Anywhere else? Can they find you on Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff?
Yeah, we're at Red Hot Tiki on Facebook and Instagram, and we're trying to work where you can, like, if you see something, one of our ads, you can buy it, especially on Instagram. Because we post new products all the time. So you should be able to click on a lot of those and just go ahead and order them and come pick them up.
Awesome. Robin, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Esther Venucio from Local Shops One tells us about how a back burner idea came to be to offer the Tampa Bay area a place to shop both local and online. Today I'm joined by Esther Venucio from LocalShops1.com. Esther, thanks for coming on St. Pete Open for Business.
Thanks for having me. Hope you're doing okay.
I'm doing great, thank you. Pre-pandemic, what were things like for you business-wise? You have the storefront there in Gulfport. You're pushing, promoting the buy local, eat local, live local. So pre-pandemic, what was business like for you?
So pre-pandemic, we were like super busy. We were actually getting ready for our Tiny Home Festival, which is one of our biggest annual events that was supposed to take place at the end of March. Obviously, we had to postpone it. But yeah, so we were busy, that was like the first, thing coming up. We were busy with the shop. We were busy just with our general networking and different workshops we do with our members. So, things were going really well. Business in general for, our members, they were doing well. It was height of the season. So it was good. Life was good pre-pandemic.
So who is it that you serve in the community?
So we're an organization for locally owned businesses. We have about 400 business members. It's a combination of artists, makers, brick and mortars, shops and restaurants. Primarily in the St. Pete area, like I'll say about within 15 miles of like downtown St. Pete. But we do cover the entire Tampa Bay region. So anybody within Tampa Bay can join.
And so once we saw safer at home orders being issued, how did that change things for you and how were you able to adapt?
So our immediate change was obviously rescheduling the Tiny Home Festival that was supposed to take place end of March at England Brothers Park in Pinellas Park. So we, coordinated with the city. We got a new date scheduled. Now it's going to be a Christmas Tiny Home event.
Okay.
It's going to be a week before Christmas. And then we had to, get in touch with all the vendors and all the tiny homeowners, kind of let them know what's going on. So that first week was like super, super busy, and then it's like, okay, what do we do now? We closed the shop. We're like, okay, we're kind of on hold. Life is on hold. And that, like, personally, I just didn't know what to do. So I went into before local shops won, I was in journalism. Uh-huh. So I kind of went into journalism mode and I just started making lists of what's open, what's closed, resources. And so I kept myself busy that way. And then I'm like, okay, now what? It just kept going and going. And so then I had an idea. Actually, one of our members reminded me, Michelle Tigo, she used to have a gallery. She does design consultations, but she suggested we do an online marketplace for all the businesses, and that's something that I had been thinking about over the years, several times, and I just never got around to doing it. I'm like, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of money. It's I've got other things to do. But now it's okay, I don't have anything to do, so I have plenty of time, it was still a lot of money, but it just seemed like it was the right time to do it because a lot of our members, they don't have their own websites or, some of them are very minimal kind of online sales. And
is that how buylocaltampabay.com was kind of came to fruition?
Yeah, because a lot of our members, they kind of rely on festivals and events, and
right.
And now they can't sell anything. It's like what are they doing? It's like they have no income coming in, and so we decided we're going to try this, and it's been going really well, surprisingly awesome. Well. Yeah, it's been
it reminds me of the ability for us to focus on something that has been a back burner idea. If you've had the opportunity to watch or listen to the interview with Kristen Strauser from the Tipsy Trotter, she had something very similar where she took a back burner idea that, was something that it was a nice to do at some point and made that basically the only thing that she's able to do right now because she's an events-based business. And so she's doing those infused cocktails. And again, that was, they rescheduled everything and then it was a now what? Well, we can work on back burner stuff. And I like to see the creativity that comes to bring some of these things to fruition. We saw out of the recession in 2008, 2009, some of the greatest technological advanced businesses that we've seen with Uber, Airbnb and the like, where they came from that. And I'm very much looking forward to see what we do as a result of the slowdown and shutdown that we've seen with this.
Yeah. It's been very inspiring seeing how many people do get so creative and reinventing their business. And I think a lot of the stuff, they're doing it, they started out doing it, thinking it's temporary, but it turns out that it's a whole new, revenue stream for them, or it's like, it's an easier way to do business. So it's kind of exciting seeing what's going to happen. Scary, but also exciting.
Sure. Well, Esther, we try to keep these pretty short. How is it that people can get in touch with you for Local Shops One or the buylocaltampabay.com?
So they can email me at esther@localshopsone.com, and Buy Local Tampa Bay, that's free and open to everybody. We don't charge any fees. We don't take any commissions. It's really just a community service we're doing. People can go right online and add their business and start selling, and the payment goes directly to them. So we have about 550 listings already from 125 businesses. So it's grown pretty fast. Yeah, it's been like 2.5 weeks, and it's just grown so fast because people have the time to actually sit down and do these things now.
Sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Dr. Jenna Elwart and Associates Jenna Elwart offers us a glimpse at her office's efforts to keep patient care as close to normal as possible, even without meeting patients in the office. I'm joined today by Dr. Jenna Elwart, and very excited to have somebody in the professional services realm because it's not very often that people think of somebody in a lot of these fields as entrepreneurs and as business owners. So Jenna, tell us a little bit about what it's like for you pre-pandemic in your business.
So pre-pandemic, I own a practice. I practice psychology. I'm a licensed psychologist, and I have myself and 4 other clinicians who work for me. And pre-pandemic, we had people come in like normal doctor's office, where you come into a waiting room. You have the office person check you in. When I'm ready, I come out, I get you, I bring you back to my office, and we do our thing. So that's kind of pre-pandemic.
And that's not something that you're able to do right now. Obviously, no waiting rooms. You're not going to have a lot of the staff on hand, potentially exposing them for what may be deemed as non-essential. So what does it look like for you as you've had to adapt? Have you been able to adopt anything creatively to help continue to serve your patients?
I have. So something that's already been kind of poking its head out a little bit in my profession, but that was not something that most psychologists were engaging in, is teletherapy. And so that is essentially either doing a therapy session over the phone or over a video session. So what I've had to do is really engage in teaching myself and learning how to do this with the HIPAA compliance, so that I'm maintaining the privacy and the confidentiality of my patients, and also really learning how to get over my own kind of angst about it, because in the profession that I'm in, there is this, we are a primary part of it is connecting with others. And so, I needed to be able to get over that angst of how am I going to connect with my people over a computer screen or over the phone. And so we actually have my office is actually shut down, but I actually come into my office and set up my computer like I am right now, because in my home, my children don't offer me the most privacy. So I come here, but it's empty, and my office manager is working from her home. And I set up my computer, and I've been able to, there's a couple different HIPAA compliant platforms that I've been able to do the teletherapy through that. And I tried out a couple different ones and landed on one that's pretty user friendly. And so I set up my computer and I see my people that way. And it's interesting. There's actually, they call it a waiting room. There's a virtual waiting room.
Right.
And so people check in, and this is all the stuff that I was learning and have now learned, and now it's become much more comfortable. People check in, I can see when they're in the waiting room, and when I'm ready, I then go and get them, right?
Oh, sure. It's kind of like our conversation here today. I had you as soon as we got you in. You were in the waiting room, and I
Yes.
was admitting you to the video chat so that we'd be able to do it.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure that this is something that's probably a little more complex than Zoom, or a Google Meet or Skype or anything like that. You mentioned maintaining HIPAA compliance, so I'm sure that it's something that's probably fairly proprietary toward medical teletherapy
Yes.
and telemedicine. Is there anything that you have found, and I know just based on conversations I've had with others in the medical field with regard to teletherapy, specifically I'm thinking of an occupational therapist that we had on. Have you run into any issues with regard to insurance recognizing it as legit therapy?
Yeah, so actually that's one of the things pre-pandemic that the insurance companies did not allow teletherapy sessions. There are ways to do it ethically and legally for people who I don't charge insurance, where we're not sending an insurance claim in, but if someone is using their insurance to cover their therapeutic services, it was not allowed pre-pandemic. And so the insurance companies have shifted their rules to accommodate this because and it is my firm belief that mental health services is not a luxury. It is an essential treatment for many people. And so they had to shift their rules and regulations. And so currently I am allowed to do it this way and submit to the insurance companies. I had to do a lot of research on that beforehand, though, to make sure I was doing it and coding things the right way, because there is some different coding that I had to include. What is interesting for me that I'm curious about is to see if this is something that will become a new industry norm, if this will continue on post-pandemic once we start to interact more. And I'm not sure. I don't have the answers. There's a lot of people who are seeing the benefits of allowing this, but also there are people who are still very resistant to continuing on. So it'll be an interesting thing to watch.
Awesome. Dr. Elwart, I really appreciate you joining me today. If you would tell people that may be in need of services, how they might be able to find you online and otherwise.
Absolutely. So I have a website that is drjennaelwart.com. So it's drjennaelwart.com. You can also find me on Facebook at Dr. Jenna Elwart and Associates.
Fantastic. Dr. Elwart, thanks so much, and I really appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much.
You did it. You've just listened to Hustleburg's bonus episode featuring these creative small business people working hard to stay open to serve our community. To thank you for listening, I have a free guide to help you get started marketing your business online, aptly named our Getting Started Guide, available at beyondyoursidehustle.com/gettheguide. See how to begin with the first 3 things you should be doing to market your business online. Speaking of businesses, if you're a small business owner in St. Pete and you'd like to be a guest on an episode of the podcast, please let us know at beyondyoursidehustle.com/podcastguest. If you got something of value from this podcast, please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcast player. This is something small that you can do to help us shine the spotlight on all the great businesses St. Pete has to offer. The music in this episode is Defining Your Dreams by my friend Rhymer Educator. You can listen to his latest single, The Last One, on Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you listen to great music. Soon he'll be releasing a mixtape of music created during the pandemic that you'll want to listen to. I've heard unmixed and unmastered tracks, and I can't wait to hear the whole thing. Thanks so much for listening, and if this is your first episode, we look forward to keep sharing with you how we do business in the Burg.